Do you ever feel stuck, like you're living your life on autopilot? Are you ready to shift into high gear and reach the success you so richly deserve? Welcome to the Play Big Movement podcast. I am your host, Sharon Lechter, entrepreneur, business strategist, and best-selling author. Playing big is not about settling for good enough or being comfortable. It is about reaching your highest potential and achieving your greatest success. Join me in my Play Big movement as I interview top experts in business, money, and entrepreneurship, all ready to serve you and to help you play big, be number one in your field, live your legacy, and create maximum impact. Welcome, everybody, to this episode of the Play Big Movement podcast with Sharon Lechter. And I am so excited to introduce two very special women. They are really changing the face of women's health. And I'm just so delighted to have Erin and Sarit with me. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Now, these two are pretty special. They were crowned 2019 Miss Health and Fitness, and they are the founders of ImproveU Solutions. But more importantly, they are dedicated to helping women transform their bodies. And it's not just sustainable weight loss, but it's really understanding all aspects of good health and wellness. They use a lot of online programs for fitness, nutrition, and lifestyle coaching. But most importantly, they're dedicated to you. If you reach out to them, they want to make sure that you have a sustainable improvement in your, not just your weight, but your overall health. They have a 5-step 360 body transformation system, and it's been used by thousands of women around the globe. And I'm excited because I've had the opportunity to get to know them pretty well this last year. And I think that they have created a huge community of women dedicated to supporting each other. And that's the power of association. So I am just so thrilled and honored to be able to highlight Erin and Sarit today. So thank you, ladies, for being with me.
It's really a pleasure. So thank you for having us.
Well, I always like to start by talking about little Erin and little Sarit. Tell us how each of you got started on this journey and then how you met.
Yeah, so, my journey started with a struggle. Growing up, I was overweight, and growing up as a fat child, you get made fun of, and you don't realize until later on how much, that really affects you. So, my confidence level was down, and man, by the time that, it was time for middle school, I was like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of having this identity. As a matter of fact, I was given a nickname. I was born and raised in Israel. So the nickname that I used to get was Shmenduza, which in English stands for a fat jellyfish. Okay, so I was like, I'm sick and tired of being known as the fat jellyfish. I got to do something about it. So, not really knowing anybody who can help me, not knowing anything about weight loss, intuitively, I'm like, what if I just cut out the runs to McDonald's that I used to do with my mom and my brother, like hot dogs for lunch, chocolate every day after school. And one thing led to another. And I also have an obsessive personality. And before I know it, it went from, okay, I lost a little bit of weight to now I've entered an era of disordered eating patterns. And I felt like food was the only thing that I could control in my life because my family moved from one place to another a lot of times. And it was just like this cyclical yo-yo dieting for 10 years until one day, it was the worst day of my life, but that was the day that, I met God for the first time, where I had my come to Jesus moment. It was 3 weeks after I had graduated from college. I got a phone call from my mom. My dad got a severe heart attack. And at that point, when somebody's life is on the line, you realize that all the problems that you have suddenly become so small. Thinking about, okay, trying to control my food. Now it's like my dad's life is on the line. I bought a one-way ticket to go back to Israel. I was here on a student visa, didn't even know if I was ever going to have a way of coming back, but I was like, you know what, commit first, figure the rest out later. I was scared for his life, his health, my family's well-being. I felt like I was responsible for all of it. And I just remember the sight of seeing him getting reeled in. And it was like the scariest thing that I've ever seen. But I think I had a moment of interaction with God at that moment, because what I heard him say to me is like, Sarit, you're the same as your dad. And if you don't start changing your ways 30 years from now, you're going to be in that same bed and in that same position. Is that what you want to do for yourself? Is that what you want to do for your family? So I told myself right then and there, I have to start changing my ways, and when the student is ready, the teacher arrives. And, a couple months after that, 3 mentors walked into my life, and they kind of saw how I was doing everything the old school way, the counting calories, running 7 miles. And they're like, man, this girl is working so hard, but she's not getting anywhere. And they're like, if you want to be serious about, like where you're heading, we see you running all the time, meet us tomorrow at 7 a.m. And I did. And, before I knew it, 6 months later, my entire body transformed. And I told God, I'm like, you know what? Forgetting the gifts that I needed, I am now going on a journey to help everybody else who was either, struggling the way that I did with my own weight, my own self-confidence, all of my issues, but more importantly, anybody who's been in my dad's shoes, where their life was on the line because they didn't know how to take care of their health, in order to help them to transform their body and their life. Because truthfully, our body is a vehicle for the rest of our lives, and so is our health. And, that became my purpose.
I love that. I love that. Erin, how about little Erin? How did you get here?
Little Erin was the girl who thought she was a boy and would like run down the street with a backwards hat and like no shirt on. And I was actually really skinny. I think at that point it was like, okay to be running down the street without a shirt on, and then till a certain age. But, I actually was a pretty skinny kid because I had played sports. I had 2 brothers. My dad was very active. He was our coach. So I was very active and never paid attention to what I ate. And my family was, hamburger helper, pizza on Friday nights and ice cream for dessert every night. If we had a salad, it was like some iceberg lettuce with some carrots and olives and ranch dressing. And, I didn't really know anything about food. So it wasn't until high school really that I started to gain weight. As I stopped playing sports, I got into more extreme sports, but it wasn't as active on a consistent basis. So skateboarding and snowboarding, but it wasn't like what I was eating started to catch up. And by the time I got to college, I had gained, 20, 30 pounds. And I just felt like I'm this really big personality. And there's a part of me that loves like to be the life of the party, but I also in that moment didn't want to be seen. So I was very conflicted. I was like, I want to be here. I want to do the social things but I'm also like, I don't feel good about me. And I would wear, like spandex shorts, like Nike spandex shorts underneath my pants, and I'll pull them up over my belly. And then I would wear like a baggy t-shirt and like try to hide behind things. And I'm like, I'm not somebody who hides, but I feel like I need to because I'm so like self-conscious about this. And I don't know where that comes from, because I don't think it was ever like, nowhere in my life I wasn't made fun of when I was a kid or anything like that. But, I just remember one day I was in the shower. I had tried like different diet pills, things like that. And I remember I was in the shower one day and I was just sitting down and I was letting the water hit me and I was just crying. I was just looking down and I was like, I think what it was for me, it wasn't so much the aesthetics as much as it was, I know there's so much more in me, and physically it doesn't feel like I've manifested what I know I'm capable of. And so I was just kind of upset because I felt like I was living so far below what I knew that I could. And I was trying to get rid of this physical piece that I thought was like the problem. But the problem was that I didn't know how to just respect me in what I ate, in how I moved my body, in the way that I talked to myself, and all these other things that we teach women that really have so much more to do than with just the calories in, calories out, and things like that. So I had accidentally changed my perspective when I met CrossFit. And, you know, it wasn't the sport itself or the activity itself as much as it was I'm competitive. And I realized when I eat certain things, I feel slower, I feel heavier, I feel more tired, and people beat me, and I want to win. So I was like, well, if I want to be faster and lighter and feel like I'm actually doing my best, then I need to eat these things because they make me feel better. So then that started kind of like becoming a habit. And I was like, oh my gosh, wow, all this happened was from a change of perspective.
I
And so
love this.
then I started to realize like, that's what it is. Like, and so the thing for me is like, I absolutely love taking, like, I was literally brushing my teeth yesterday and I dropped my toothbrush and I caught it against my body. The weirdest thing, I've never done that. And I looked at myself and I was like, I've just dropped my toothbrush. But I started immediately thinking about what's a lesson from this story that I could pull that's like a life lesson. And so I think that like anything that happens in life now, I'm like, what's the perspective somebody could take that's different than what they currently have that can help them move forward?
I
So
love that. I think that's great. And I think what you guys have both shared is so important for the audience, because listening to their stories, you look at them and say, oh, they haven't had rough times, but yet they've just shared the lowest points of self-sabotage, of feeling less than. How many of you out there have felt less than? I know I have. And how many of you have been victims of self-sabotage? Every one of us. And so, the two of you made a concerted effort to come together and tell a little bit about how you guys met, but really what your mission is. Share your mission for those people watching and listening.
we're on a mission to transform the lives of millions through the same movement, nutrition, and lifestyle habits that have transformed ours.
Yeah. And, our relationship is very interesting. We met in Miami and our relationship started on a romantic level. As a matter of fact, we both lived in completely different sides of the country. Like, what were the odds? I lived in the Northeast. She lived in the Northwest. We came here for a specific event. And, I truly believe that people in your life come for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And, all of the experiences that we've had have brought us together to collaborate and create something that is, bigger and better than both of us to make a massive impact. We truly believe that, especially with where things are headed in the 21st century, we're more sedentary than, we've ever been before as a society. Obesity rates.
I think that includes our minds. Like, our minds are also more sedentary than they've ever been.
Right. And I mean, what kind of information are we confusing? That's what Outwitting the Devil is all about. What a transformative book, right? But we have a very soulful relationship, in the sense that we are here for something that is so much bigger than both of us. And we truly believe that, we are God's servants to create something that is bigger than ourselves. And, therefore, we feel that it is our duty, obligation, and responsibility to share with those of you guys who are listening and the entire world, as a matter of fact, the real truth with regards to, what the game of health is all about. We've been on both sides. We've seen our loved ones experience all of that. And really all it is miseducation. Like, man, if the school system would have taught us, what we teach in our programs, people will be happier, people will be healthier, people will know how to take better care of themselves.
They'll be kinder
for sure. Like, how you feel within you dictates and I'm saying it from my own life experience because I've been in both sides, you know, like every decision that you make and every experience that you have, aside from the fact that I think also when you are not feeling well, like physically, mentally, you know, like emotionally, spiritually, you're never able to get yourself to be present in the moment. And I think that, you know, really that is where the gift of life lies. And most people live their life living, or alive, but they're not living. And
True. So true. So true. So tell us a little bit more about what your 5-step 360 body transformation system entails, so people have a little bit more understanding of what you offer.
Sure. So, you know, for those of you guys who are listening, if you've ever tried to lose weight before or tone your body, you know, however you want to call it, you know, chances are is that, you know, you probably went through the approaches of, okay, I'm going to count calories, I'm going to count macros, or I'm going to restrict X, Y, or Z. Now,
I'm going to avoid this or avoid that, or I'm not going to eat after this time. Like all the detailed pieces that don't really make as much sense until we can look at the big picture of it all.
Yeah. So that is a very unilateral way of approaching it. So the 5-step system, which I'll get into in just a little bit, it like literally involves the whole 360 and it impacts the whole person. And that's why one of the things that we always say is that when you do it the right way, it's not about the weight that you lose, but rather who you become in the process, you know? So, pillar number 1, mindset. Okay. The decisions that you make will impact everything that you do or don't do. And when you do it the right way, you become more aware of yourself and how you respond to your surroundings. So when it comes to mindset, really we go by the approach of progress, not perfection. Okay, let's say if somebody wants to lose 100 pounds and they're just, man, like I'm so ready to drop these 100 pounds. And, you know, like maybe they go for, you know, the mainstream stuff. We're all familiar with the keto and the intermittent fasting, and I'm not bashing on that by any degree. But if you are 100 pounds overweight and you know, like get so extreme with something like overnight, you're not going to be able to adapt to it in a way where your body and your mind is going to be able to keep up. And to the degree that you're able to go somewhere with your mind, your body will follow. Your body is the greatest machine. Now, because, you know, we approach diet, weight loss in such an extreme way, rather than, okay, let's figure out this baseline, make sure that it gets solidified, and then we add another layer, solidify that, and then we add another layer. We take it one day at a time, one step at a time, and that's truly how you're able to create sustainability. And the second one is environment. Okay, you are a byproduct of your environment. You know, it is very common that we want to practice willpower. Willpower is great, but here's the thing. Willpower is like motivation. It's not something that you can depend on. Okay. Like, this is a question for the audience. Have you ever said to yourself, I'm not motivated to work out? Sharon,
I can't stay motivated. That's my problem, is I can't stay motivated.
Right. Sharon, like, did that thought ever cross your mind?
Oh, constantly.
Absolutely. You know, if we just rely on, you know, like the Mondays or the January 1st, we're never going to be able to get anywhere. However, if we create an environment where we're able to grow and thrive, you know, like in the entrepreneurship world, we call it growth environment, then it by default becomes easier to make these choices. And now when it comes to the environment, you know, you want to audit your environment in multiple ways. For one, your mental environment, you know, like what things are you seeing? What things are you hearing? That's really, really important. If you're, you know, like seeing like junk food ads all day, or that's all you have going on in your social media, yes, of course, your cravings for junk food is going to be greater. And then also, what kind of people are you surrounded by? You know, if everybody in your world wants to, you know, like just pizza all the time, then guess what? Your likelihood of wanting to eat pizza is going to be greater. And then also, what kind of like things are you keeping around? You know, if you have access to healthier food, chances are that you're going to eat healthy more often than not. Okay. The other one is knowledge, you know, with regards to, you know, how we move and what we eat. Movement is food and food is medicine. You know, a lot of people think that the most important thing when it comes to weight loss is, you know, like, how much can I work out? You know, people think that Erin and I, as a matter of fact, live in the gym.
I'm like, how do I get my workout done in an hour and I'm out of here?
Right. And the truth is that we're consistent with our workouts, but we do not live in the gym. You know, we're diligent about how we do what we do. And in order to do that, you know, tactics are important. And, you know, the last two, which are tied in together, are habits and discipline. You know, what we do is we teach people how to build habits by talking about everything that we just went over. And, you know, the way that we do it is by teaching people how to become more disciplined. So for example, if you want to change 100 things in your life, guess what? Let's start with one and let's get really good with it.
I love this. I think that's so good. It's absolutely right, because it is, you know, it's, you can like deer in headlights when you're trying to do everything, but I talk about little wins, and you talk, you know, when you're talking about progress, not perfection, because when you make that first step and you can be proud of yourself, it gives you the motivation to keep going, and which helps you create better habits, which helps you create the discipline to keep going. So I love this. And so, you know, I know your program. I've seen people that have thrilled that it works. And so how can people that are watching, listening, connect with you in the best way?
So there's, you know, we're everywhere on every social media platform as Erin and Sarit. We have a Facebook group community that is, I mean, I'm biased, but it is tremendous, super supportive and amazing. And then there's, you know, places you can start with us to just, you know, free things that we have, so you can kind of see just what's going on. And
what about the gift? The gift that we're offering?
Yeah, you have a gift for everybody. So tell us a little bit about the gift.
Yeah, so we're going to give the 14-day Rise Above workout program because everybody likes workouts. And it is really fun. It's very different than anything you've ever done. So it is online, it's on demand, it's virtual. You can use it on the go. It's all body weight. Beginners can use it. People who are even more advanced can use it. The way that this is different is usually when you pop on an online video to do a workout, the instructor looks very perfect and they've got like a Britney Spears mic and like a perfect braid, and they do a couple of reps to demonstrate and they look really good doing it. This workout, we get down and dirty. So we invite you into our gym. There's a couple dance parties that are thrown in there. It's very inspirational the way that we walk you through each workout, but we talk about what is the workout, demonstrate the movements along with modifications. Then we go over the warm up, then we do the workout, and then there's a cool down at the end. All the workouts are 30 minutes long. The videos themselves are like 45 to 50 minutes, maybe, with the warm up, the cool down, and the dance parties. But yeah, that is what we want to get.
I love this. And for those of you watching and listening, I want you to rewind and listen to this again, because you've heard incredible information about that 5-step program, from your mindset to your environment, your knowledge, your habits, your discipline. And, you know, I talk about those same things as it relates to your financial life, but this is an overall health and wellness and making sure that if your mindset isn't where it needs to be, you can lose the weight and you're going to gain it back. I'm a perfect example of that. So we always have to work on creating the 360 transformation as they indicate. So thank you so much, Erin and Sarit. I'm so delighted to have you here. And we're going to have you hang out with us for a moment because we're going to do another interview for the private Facebook group, Play Big Movement. But I so appreciate you and thank you for being with me today.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
All right. For those of you watching and listening, today is the day. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. And so check into the transformation system, the gift that Erin and Sarit have given you. It's changed thousands of people's lives and it can change yours as well. So thank you so much for listening to this segment of the Play Big Movement podcast. Until next time, keep moving. Thank you for listening to this segment of the Play Big Movement podcast. Please subscribe to iTunes and leave us a review, as well as join us in other areas of social media, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn at Sharon Lechter, and for Facebook, author Sharon Lechter. Thank you so much and have a fabulous day.